welcome to whatever week it is. 7? I think it's week 7. This week we have decided to go back to historical fiction. So this week we read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Let me apologize now for my snuffles. I've been sick this last week, so I'm probably going to be doing that a lot, so sorry in advance for that. Also, sorry in advance if I mispronounce any of the names from this book. It's set in France and Germany, and even though I took French in high school, that was 7 years ago, and I don't remember how to pronounce all of the names and places. And I especially don't know how to pronounce German, so bear with me on that. Okay, so All the Light We Cannot See, I'll start with a synopsis. We have two main characters. We have Marie-Laure, who is 16 years old, blind, and lives with her father in France, Paris, France. And then we have Werner, who is German, and he lives in an orphanage in a small town in Germany with his sister Jutta. The book switches between time periods. It's set between the times of around 1934 to 1945 for most of the book. And it switches between perspectives of Marie-Laure and Werner, and switches between time periods, kind of like a now and then type of thing, where the beginning of the book starts with now, and then it switches back to their past and shows how they got to where they are now. It's set in World War II in Nazi Germany, Nazi Europe, right, where in the time period when Hitler takes over many countries in Europe, including France, invades them, and it's the story of how these two characters have separate lives and what happens with them, and it's also the story of how they meet. So Marie-Laure is blind, and her father is a key maker for the museum, the Natural History Museum in France. He's very talented. He makes these little tiny houses that have special ways to get into them, kind of like an Rubik's Cube type of thing. And he also makes model scales, like little doll houses for Marie-Laure to memorize so she knows how to get around. Werner, on the other hand, is in Germany in an orphanage in a town that is built on coal mining, where his father actually died. So this is a very poor town, but he is a very talented boy. He can work with radios in ways that many people cannot work with, and he becomes especially excited about them. He loves the radios. Marie-Laure loves books and reading, adventure, even though she's blind, and it's the story of how Werner becomes involved with the Hitler Youth and becomes part of Hitler's plans, and how that affects Werner and what happens and how he meets Marie-Laure. And Marie-Laure, on the other hand, helps in a certain way with the resistance. She and her father flee to the town of St. Malo on the coast of France, in a town that is surrounded by a wall, like a citadel type of town. And there she and her great uncle and their housekeeper, and they try to help the resistance against Hitler. They try to help the Americans and the Allied forces, and they try to be part of something bigger. For the grading, let's start with plot. For this plot, for All the Light We Cannot See, I give it a solid 5 out of 5. I love how he switches between the different perspectives and the different time periods. I love how that's done. Anything that has to do with World War II is super interesting. It's not necessarily a plot that you've seen before, but it's the same kind of premise that you've seen before. Nazi Germany, it's going to be about the same thing. But the story is so new and so different. I've never encountered a story like this. And just the way that it's put together is just really well done. So he definitely deserves a 5 out of 5 for this plot. It's intricate and it's interesting and it's well thought out. It's perfect. For writing style, I'm also giving him a 5 out of 5. Same reason here. the writing of the two different time periods, the two different people, it's just fantastic. His descriptions are so good. It's like while you're reading this book, you're there. I've never been to St. Malo. I have been to France, but I've never been to St. Malo, and I have been to Germany, but I've never been to where Werner lives in Germany. But I feel like I'm there. It's just his descriptions are just really good. He makes it so alive, which is a really good contrast with Mr. Murder that we reviewed earlier, like 2 weeks ago, because his descriptions were annoying. So this is a good example of a good amount of description. For character development, I'm also giving it a 5 out of 5. Marie-Laure is fantastic. She's sweet, she's smart, she's lovable, she's loved. She's such a great character. Werner, on the other hand, is also very lovable, but in a different way, because he's easily influenced by what's around him. And it's such an interesting story to be able to see the perspective of these two different people, someone who is doing the conquering and someone who is being conquered, because it's interesting to see what Werner thinks about all of it, about how his mind works with what's going on in these camps that they're in for the Hitler Youth and what they're taught to do and how they're taught to feel like robots. And you can see how he doesn't want to feel like a robot. And I think it's really interesting that the title of the book, All the Light We Cannot See, I feel like Marie-Laure is the one that literally can't see. She is blind. But it's Werner who can't see the truth. But he's the one that's struggling with seeing the light. He's the one that's struggling with seeing the right way, the path that leads to happiness. There's one chapter in this book I'll show you. So the chapter title is Alive Before You Die, and it's something that Madame Manic, who is the housekeeper in St. Malo for Marie-Laure and her great-uncle Antony, and she tells them that they need to help the resistance because they need to feel alive before they die. So I love that chapter, and I love that scene where they talk about how you need to be alive before you die, because it's so real, feeling like you're being a part of something. And I feel like Madame Manic and Marie-Laure and all of those people in that town of St. Malo felt like they needed to be doing something to help their country, their people, something to fight against when it came to the Nazis. Anyway, I kind of got off track, but the character development is definitely a 5 out of 5 as well. The characters are just so awesome. They're relatable and they're wonderful, and you feel for them, right? You feel for what they're going through. Especially Werner. I don't know, he just really, really struck a chord with me because he can see how what's going on is wrong, and he just feels so influenced by it and unable to get out of the cycle. And all of us now, right, in our time period, we think, why were these people Nazis? Why were they helping this person who was such a terrible cause when they could probably see all the terrible things that were happening? And when you see it from this perspective, from Werner's perspective, he was so young when they got to him, and he was so confused. He was an orphan, and you can see why he chose the way he chose. And it makes you feel like you're kind of connected with those people that were Nazis, and not just connecting with the victims of Hitler, but of the people he conquered, but the victims of Hitler, who he stole the lives of those young soldiers in Germany, right? He stole their life the same way. But I digress from that. Let's go back to grading. So character development, readability is a 5 out of 5. It's really easy to read. It has a lot of descriptions. It's fantastic. There's nothing too difficult about it. It switches a lot between the time periods, but that makes it more interesting. It doesn't make it difficult. There's a little bit of French and German mixed in, but also just adds to the atmosphere of the book. It doesn't deter from it at all. So readability is 5 out of 5. And enjoyment is a 5 out of 5. I love this book. It hurt my heart. It made me sad. as you probably expect. I'm not giving you any spoilers, but you can probably expect that it's going to be sad. Just the things that happened in it. But I love the way that it also opened up my mind about different characters and different people of that time period. And I always love learning about history in this way. Historical fiction is my favorite way to learn history because it teaches you things that a boring history book could never teach you. So the last category is the cover. I saved it for last because it's awesome. So let's take a look at it again. Boom, close up. So I'm definitely giving this cover a 5 out of 5 because it's gorgeous. I love the blues, the tones, the colors. I love the picture of St. Malo on the front. It all works really well together and it looks really, really cool. The only thing I don't like about my cover is that I bought it at Barnes & Noble and then I took the sticker off and look what happened to it. It tore my book. Not okay. So, but anyway, cool cover. So the total for this book is a 5 out of 5. I definitely recommend it. It's fantastic. It's great. It's such a great read, and it hurts your heart, but it's so good. You should read it. Definitely read it, especially if you love historical fiction and you love learning about World War II. It's a great book for that. So the next book we are doing is Me Before You. It's a book that was just recently turned into a movie, and we saw the trailer for it and we decided to read the book. Neither of us have seen the movie, but we heard it is sad. So we'll see how it turns out. We're excited. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, follow our Instagrams, all of our other links down below. Leave us comments, suggestions. If you want us to review your book, let us know. We would love to do it. So keep in touch, guys. Thanks. Bye.